In April 2014, I decided to move down to Los Angeles, California. For the majority of the time that I was living in Portland, I was working on beats for other artists, working with my group T&E, and on and off doing my solo stuff, rapping and singing. When I got down here and I was on my own, I felt like it was time to really explore what I could do as my own artist. And that's when I started getting in the studio, and the first track I made is called 1988.
Just try to get us home in time for the Christmas tree.
Moving to a city like LA can be overwhelming, but I really dug it. I dug the challenge. I knew some folks out here, Planet Asia and a few other cats who I work with, so it actually was a pretty easy transition for me to get in and just start working. And once I got my studio set up in my home, which is the only way I like to work, you know, it was on from then. With the beautiful weather outside, I could always take a break, go outside, smoke a joint, swim in the pool, whatever, and that really helped the creative process. Living in the neighborhood I do, I'm able to actually create at any time at night, which is amazing. I had that same luxury when I was living on Hawthorne in Portland. And so it could be like 3 in the morning and I catch a vibe and I'm in the studio banging on the drums. Or, you know, I could wake up in the morning and be watching a movie and just want to get right in the studio. So it's really a great environment for me to work in. And it made the process of this album a lot easier to really be able to just lock myself in a room and get it in. By the end of the summer of 2014, I had about 10 songs that I was working on for this project. I decided to cut them down to about 3, and then after that, I wasn't really even feeling it. I wasn't even feeling like I wanted to be a musician in the sense of being a singer or a songwriter. I'd rather just play the background. So I went back on my production, worked on a project with Illa J, Sam Trump, Immaculate, did the De La Soul song, working with Fat Tony, you know, staying busy, but I wasn't really focusing on my own music. Summer 2015 comes around, and my boy Epp hits me up and says, Neil Von Talley wants to holler at you about a label called Arist and see if y'all can do some work. So I talked to Neil, we felt the same vibe, and I ended up making a beat tape for them called Avocado High. It was all samples, so we weren't able to put it out through that label, and they said, you know, well, can you do something else for us? So I ended up started working, and it sparked a new interest in my solo career. And it started out as just a beat tape, but I went back to some of those other songs and really felt like I had something going, and I wanted to explore that. Through not being able to use samples, it was a challenge, but it was also a blessing because I was able to compose my own melodies, which I do often, but this time it was really a challenge because I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to do your typical beats or your typical songs or whatever. And so that's where a song like Eugene comes out, where it's really a ballad, but I ended up taking that ballad and flipping it into the next song, Spencer Butte, and to the intro of the album, just to keep things interesting and different and still have that element of sampling, which I love to do, and I'll never stop sampling. But this was a great way to explore the other avenues. In the summer of 2014, flashing back, I also met Danielle Henderson, and me and her started vibing from the jump. And she's a great singer, songwriter, you know, actress. She does it all, basically. She can do anything. After I signed to Arist, I got caught up in my own mind, and I started thinking too heavily about the songs and nitpicking them and hating them and loving them and just I was going back and forth too much. So she came in and she really helped kind of just dispel my myths about if I liked this song or didn't like this song, and she would lay vocals on tracks. She would help with some of the hooks. She would, you know, come up with her own hooks. And actually the Supernova song, which is the closer to the album, I ended up taking a song that she had recorded on GarageBand and manipulating her voice and then re-recording over it and making a beat around it and really just making something completely different. And so I'm so used to doing everything by myself that it was pretty nice to have somebody who understood me and understood where I was going come in and really make this record something different. And after that, I brought in my boy Heaven, who plays guitar, and he just killed it. Just killed it on a bunch of the tracks, laying some little guitar lines and whatnot. I also had to involve my brother DJ Celsius. He's an incredible DJ, and he scratched on the majority of the record. You know, I had to represent my family, but also wanted to represent where I come from as far as, you know, the hip hop I grew up on and the music I grew up on. I grew up on digging through records and soul samples and all that business. So I wanted to still incorporate the DJ into my music, even though the album's not technically hip hop or R&B or whatever, but I still wanted to have a different element. So Celsius just killed it. He did all the scratches on the album and did an amazing job. After that, I had to bring in Philip Peterson. I met him out at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and he is an amazing orchestrator, composer, cello player, and he came in and just killed it on the strings and laid the strings for 3 of the tracks on the album and just did an amazing job. The title Eugene is in reference to my hometown, and you know, throughout making this album and moving to a different city and being away from my friends, you know, that's kind of, I've had moments of homesickness and wanting to move back. Even though I was doing well out in LA, you still miss your friends, you miss your family, and so this was kind of my ode to them. You know, I still represent my hometown. I still realize where I'm from, and you got to realize that to know where you're going.